Live. Oh. We will start soon. People is still joining. Okay, Umar, you are host now.
Thank you, sir.
And if someone
Assalamu
joined, just
alaikum.
admitted them, please.
Yes, sure. So should I start or
Yeah, you
should I
can
wait?
start now. Inshallah.
Okay. So welcome to all, and sorry for the inconvenience of last class due to the power failure in all major cities of Pakistan. So let's start today class. So I'm just sharing my screen. So please wait. Could you please confirm? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So in the last class, we discussed about the HTML class and HTML ID. So now we will start with the HTML iframe. So before going to start, I just want to all of you, if you have any question regarding the previous lecture, so you may ask. I think no question for now. Okay, so I'm just start. Okay, so HTML iframe, and an HTML iframe is used to display a web page within a web page. So for example, if for example, I just want to display another web page in my website. So how we can do it? We can do through the iframe. So we just go through the code and then let's see that how we can add the another web page in our web page. So I'm just opening the index file in the notepad++. So I'll just copy the code. So this is the simple iframe code, and this is the opening tag, and this is the closing tag, and under the src attribute, so we just define the another web page which we want to display in our web page. So for example, I just want to display a Google web page in our site. So I'm just simply type its URL like google.com, and then type its protocol as well, HTTPS. So, and also in the height attribute, we can set its the height, and in the width attribute we can set its width, and its another attribute that is title, and under the title we just set its title iframe example. So whatever we can use. So this is the optional attribute, height, width, and title. So let's see the result. So you can see the page is not loading. Why? Just simply copy the URL from here and then paste it. Why it's not loading? So please wait, I'm just checking that why it's not loading. For example, if I want to add, so so you can see this web page, it's loading, and I don't know that maybe Google district to display the web page in the iframe. So maybe it's because of this. So as you can see, the web page is loading. So whatever you want to add the another web page in your web page, so you can simply add through the iframe tag. So for example, if you want to increase its width and height, so we can simply increase the width and increase the height. Just save the document, and then okay, I'm just remove this image as well from here. So now you can see the entire web page is loading in our document. So this is the iframe tag, and now we just okay. So our next slide is the CSS. We have already discussed a little bit about the CSS. So now we will start the in-depth. So CSS is the language we use to style an HTML document. CSS describe how HTML elements should be displayed. CSS stand for Cascade Style Sheet. CSS describes how HTML elements are to be displayed on screen, paper, or in the other media. CSS saves a lot of work. It can control the layout of multiple web pages all at once. External CSS are stored in CSS file. So external CSS is a another type of the CSS. So we can discuss it later. So we have already discussed the CSS syntax. The This is the selector h1. So and this is the declaration part. And in the declaration part, we have two things. The first one is the property, and the second one is value. As you can see, this is the another declaration, and this is the similarly the font size, it's a property, and 12 px stand for pixel. So so 12 px it's a value of font size. So type of CSS, we have already discussed. We have three type of CSS: internal CSS, inline CSS, and external CSS. We have already covered the internal and inline CSS. So just a short review of the inline CSS. An inline style may be used to apply a unique style for a single element. To use inline styles, add the style attribute to the relevant element. The style attribute can contain any CSS property. So we have already discussed. We can define the inline CSS through the style attribute under a tag, under a opening tag, not the closing tag. So you can see its example over here. So now go to the internal CSS. We have already discussed the internal CSS. Internal CSS, we define the internal CSS through our document instead of adding the under the tag. So this is the example of internal CSS. So we have an option to use the internal CSS at any of the space. It's not bound to use the internal CSS under the head tag. We can also use the style internal CSS under the body tag as well. So it's not necessary to use all time under the head tag. So we may have an option to use under the body or under the head tag. So it's not an issue. Okay, now the third type of CSS is external CSS. With an external style sheet, you can change the look of the entire website by changing just one file. Each HTML page must include a referring to the external style sheet file inside the link element inside the head section. So external CSS must be defined under the head tag, and you can see we can declare the external CSS through this way, like under the link attribute. Under the link element, and under the link element, we must add the related attribute rel. It's a short form, and we can define the style sheet, its property, and also we must use the href, and under the href we just define its the path. So uh, just a short, so we can see the example of the uh, external CSS in our exercise. So for example, instead of define the CSS under the style tag, we just create the another file. For example, this section I'm just moved on the external CSS. So I'm just simply copy it and then save the document. And it's recommended to you to upload the style sheet to the CSS folder, and I'm giving it its name like style.css. So we have option to use the name whatever we want. So it's not necessary to use the style.css all time. So I'm just save this file, and now now we will just link in this document. Okay, so we do not need to, because I have already defined in the CSS file, and this file I'm going to link this CSS file in this document. So how can I link? I'm just simply type the link element under the, and under the link element we must use the two attribute. The first one is related attribute, and under the related, we simply type the style sheet. And the second attribute is the href, and under the href, we must uh, set its path. So how we can define its path? Can anyone please tell me? This is my this is our document. This is our the HTML document, and under this folder we have this CSS file. So can anyone please tell me how we can include style.css file in our document? So are you listening me? Can anyone
Yes,
listening me?
yes, brother. We'll
Okay.
put style.
Okay. So what should I type over here?
Style.
Style. Okay. I'm just typing style. Okay.
No, would you go back again? Go back to that.
Okay. So this is my the
Oh,
HTML
okay.
file.
Yeah. So you'll put CSS.
Okay. So should I
Yeah.
remove this?
No. Just in front of it. Yeah.
Okay.
CSS.
CSS. Okay.
Backslash.
Backslash.
Oh, and then style. That CSS.
Dot CSS. So dot CSS, it's a extension. It's same as we have when we save this document through the .html. So when we use the CSS file, so we must save CSS file through the .css extension. So I'm just simply save this file, and then back to the document, then refresh the page, and then you can see the color of the footer area is green. Are you seeing this?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So for example, if you just change this this header section color, so now I'm just simply add the style in the style CSS instead of adding the inline CSS or the internal CSS. So what should I type over here? What should be the syntax? Can anyone
Okay.
please tell me? So this is my header section, and under the header section we have h1 tag. So we are going to target this h1 tag. So can you please tell me how can I change this h1 element color? So anyone tell me how can I change this color?
I think
I
you
think
should start from the H1.
h1. Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah. And then curly brackets. Yeah.
Okay,
And
and
you
then
put that line. Yes.
okay. So what should I do?
And
What property should I type over here?
you want to target color, right? Okay, color.
Color. Okay, good. and
Semicolon.
then whatever color we want, like
Yeah.
yellow, green, blue. So just simply save this document and then refresh the page. You can see the header color is changed now. So what is the use of these external CSS? Can anyone please tell me how you can understand the difference of external CSS? So do you have
Is it
any
in the
idea?
different file?
Sorry, what did you say?
It is in the different CSS file.
Yes, it's a different CSS file. So so my question is that why we are using the external files instead of internal CSS? What is the difference of, and what is the importance of this external CSS file? So if you know the answer, so that's good. Otherwise, it's not an issue. Okay, no problem. I'm going to the answer. For example, if we have another document, like I'm just simply copying this document file and then save the another name, like uh, home.html. Okay, so for example, we have two documents now. The first one is the index.html, and then second one is the home.html. So for example, in both the document we want to change the h1 tag. So if we are using through the internal or inline CSS, so we have to replicate our code in both of the file. So instead of redundancy of the code, what we'll use, we can simply add a separate style sheet file and then link to both of the pages. So you can simply see the difference. I'm just open this file on our web browser as well. So you can see the color of this heading is also changed, and the color of this heading is also changed. And if we are not using through the external CSS, so we will have to write this code in both of the document, this document as well, and then this document as well. So this is the best practice to use through the external file instead of the internal file. But in certain conditions, we will have to use the inline or the internal CSS as well. So this is the difference between three type of CSS. So if you have any confusion or any question regarding the all three types of CSS, so you may ask.
Brother, which one is the most used one? Which is like the common used one among all
Uh,
those three
Among
in the real life?
yeah, among all the three, we have used the external CSS in most of the time. But in very some conditions that will have to use the inline or internal CSS. But mostly we are using the external CSS file in our projects. So
And
any other
that's
question?
yeah, is it like to minimize the number of codes to write in each page? Uh, that's the
No, no,
reason for it.
no, no. It's not a issue to use the number of code and the line of code in the specific file. It's not. It has no any limit to use this the line of code. We can write unlimited line of code, but we'll have to optimize the code. So we'll also learn that how we may optimize our code.
Thank you so much.
No problem. So any other question? Okay, so now move to the next slide. CSS selectors. So we have already discussed CSS selectors. So in this document, what are the CSS selectors? Can you please tell me? So far, we have 13 in the list. So can anyone please tell me, except the brother who is asking the question, and accept the sister? Can anyone? No. So brother, can you tell me
Each one is the selector, I guess.
which one is the selector?
Each one.
H1. Okay. So what about this?
I think each one is a selector and then property.
H1, it's a selector, so this is fine. But I'm asking footer and space A. So this is also a selector, or this is something else?
Class.
Class? No, it's not a class. It's also a tag. We simply targeting a tag, and under a tag we can also target another child tag, which is A. So this is also a
A
selector.
selector.
Yeah. So both are the selectors, footer A, and this
Each
H1
one.
is also a selector. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Shakil. How can I help you discover Ontario?
Good afternoon. Shakil, what did you say? Shakil,
Yes, currently, based on what is published on the OntarioParks.com website, you can still make a reservations because some of the parks are still open. Actually, you have a list of parks.
I think he's talking to someone.
okay, so can you please mute yourself?
Well, if it depends on availability, this is another question, please. Usually, based on your arrival date, okay, to ensure that you have space,
Omar, you can mute him.
spots available. This is
Yes,
why it says that you
Just
can
muting
book
it.
a site 5 months in advance. But still, if let us say you want.
Okay, I'm just muted. Okay, now move to the next slide. So we have already discussed CSS selectors. So so just giving a short review and then discuss the its uh, uh, another types of selectors. So CSS selectors are used to find or select the HTML elements you want to style. We can divide CSS selectors into 5 categories. Like simple selectors. In the simple selector, we have already reviewed these simple selector examples like tag name, ID, and class. So we have already discussed. And then combinated selectors uh, select elements based on a specific relationship between them. And pseudo class selector and pseudo element selector. And in the last, we have attribute selectors. So now we will discuss one by one. So the CSS element selector, here all P elements on the page will be centered aligned with the red text color. So in this example, P is a selector. So this is the example of simple selector. And in this selector, we are targeting this property and its value, like text align, and it's given the property center, and then another property color, and then set its value right. So this is the example of simple selector. Okay, now move to the next slide. The CSS ID selector, we have already discussed the CSS ID selector in our previous lecture. So we also so we must define the ID through the hash prefix. So as you can see, the para one is the ID, and before this text, we must use the hashtag, and hashtag denotes that it's the ID. And if accept the hashtag, and if it's the comma, sorry, full stop over here, so it will be considered as the class. So the class, this is class selector, we have already discussed. This is class selectors defined with the dot, and with the dot we just going to type the class name. But class name, whatever we just said in the element. So this is the class center, and under the center we define two properties: text align center and then color right. So this is the universal selector. Static is a universal selector. Uh, so we just give the short review about the static. For example, I'm just simply type the static, and then I just simply change all of the document color. For example, color red, and then I just simply remove rest of the file and save it. So this static, it is applying on whole the document. So just simply refresh the page, and you can see all document color is red. You can see this heading color is red, and this is the red. Okay, so we have two documents. We use this CSS file in the index.html, or in the home.html. So what is your answer? This style is also going to apply on this document or not? So can
It
anyone?
should, yeah, it should.
It should. Okay, that's good. So it's also apply on this document. So but you can see this iframe color, it's not changed. So why? Can you tell me?
Because it's not part of our code. This is from an
Yeah.
external source.
Yes. Yes. Great. This not the part of our document. This is the external resource. So good, brother. Okay. So this is the grouping selector. We have already, I think, discussed the grouping selector, I think. So for example, the same style, if you want to use the same style through the on the h1, h2, and the p tag. So instead of repeating the code, like as you can see, instead of repeating this code, we just simply add the selector through the separating by comma, and then define the property once instead of repeating the code. So we can also just see a short review For example, in this document, we use the h1 tag, and this is the p tag. So just simply type h1 p and then a, and then simply save the document and then refresh the page. Now you can see the color is remains same. Why? Because we are defining through the grouping CSS. So now move to the next slide. CSS comments. So as we have discussed about the HTML comment, so now we will discuss about the CSS comment. So can anyone please tell me how can we comment the HTML? So it's already showing over here. So then this is an example of the comment of this HTML. So for example, if we want to comment under the CSS file, so how can we do? We can simply just add the slash and then static, and then static and slash, and under this we can type whatever we want. For example, this is header area. So whatever I type over here, so it will be considered it's a comment. So I'm just simply save it and then refresh. And for example, if I want to comment this style as well, so how can we do? We can just simply uh, type the slash stylic, and then we will close our comment stylic and slash. So now you will see this style won't be apply, because why? We have comment this style. So this is the example of comment under the style file or style.css. We can also comment through this way, like to slash. Sorry, two slash comment we can use under the JavaScript, not in the CSS file. So we must use slash static and static slash to commenting in the style.css file. Okay, now move to the next slide. CSS color names. So these are the CSS color names. So these are the CSS color names like tomato, orange, or Dudugar blue, medium, screen gray, slate blue, violet. So these are the color names, but we can also define through the color code as well. So for example, we can change this color through the color name, like color blue, green, blue, violet. So we can either use the name, or also we can use the color code as well. So the color code we can simply get the colors from the Google site, like Google colors. So these are the hexa code. We can also use the RGB code in our document. So for example, if you want to use this blue color, we can simply either use the hexa code or either use this RGB code. But mostly we use the hexa code. So I just simply copy this color hexa code and then save it and then replace it. So you can see this color is changed. And also if you want to change in it, so I just simply click this square box and you can see we can change this color like purple, green, red, whatever we want. So we can simply change its color, and now you can see it will also change this hexa code. So you can
Muhammad,
uh,
I have a question.
yes please.
How do you bring up that page when you open the Google browser? How did you bring up that page for the code? Yeah, this one, the bottom one.
Which was this one?
Go back to Google Chrome again. Yeah, the bottom
This
one. Yeah, this one.
this one window. Okay. So can anyone please tell me how we can open this window? Because I've already told
Right
that
click and
how we
inspect.
can open this. Okay, so right click and
Inspect.
inspect. Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
So you can see this. Okay, no problem. So we can use a color code in this from this, as you can see we have multiple colors. For example, I just want to use this color, so I just simply click it and you can see we can either use this code, this code, this code. So whatever we want we can use it. So this is the example of so why it's not loading, because we will also use the hex the code through the hashtag. So now you can see now it's showing. Okay, now back to the next topic, CSS borders. So we have already discussed the CSS border. So border style property specifies what kind of border to display. The following values are allowed: dotted dash. We have also discussed dotted dash, solid, a double, groove, insert, outside, none. So none defines no border, and hidden defines hidden border. So dotted defines a dotted border, dash defines a dash border. So just short review on this. So for example, border 2 pixel, solid. If we set it dotted, so you can see the border it's showing the dotted form. And if we just going to set it dash, so you can see the dash dot border is appearing. Okay, now move to the next. You can see it's the example of different type of borders: double, groove, rise, inside, outside, no border, hidden border, mixed border. You can see dotted in the top one and solid in the bottom one, and left side double. So these all are the border types. CSS border width. So we can define the CSS border width. So this is the so this one is the short way to define the border, but we can also define the border through this way. Like we can define the border style in the separate line, and the border width in the next line. So we have an option to use either this way or either this way. So this is the best option to use in our single line. And if you expand it, so you can simply see its detail. So instead of defining this large code, so we just simply use this code. Okay, so this is border color. As I have already told, we have multiple options to use the border color. Like we can simply define through the name, and then through the hexa code, and then through the RGB code, and then through the HSL code. So if it's also a note over here, if border color it's not set, so it inherit the color of the element. So for example, now you can see I did not set the color. Can you see? I didn't set the color, but it will inherit from this color. Okay, so if I remove it from here, and if I change its parent color, so you can simply see it will inherit from the parent color. So this mean if border color it's not set, it inherit the color of the element. So but if I want to change the color of the border, so I can change, like I can change through the name, color name, or I can change through the hexa code, like in this way. As you can see, hexa code is generated over here, or we have also option to use through the RGB code. So we can also convert this code into RGB. How we can do through the stack element? We just simply click on this button, and now you can see it will convert the hexa code into RGB code. Now you can see. Okay, so the next slide is border size. We can also define the CSS border side as well, like border top style, dotted border. For example, if you want to change the border style, for example, we want to change the top border, like should be dotted, and the right border should be solid, and then bottom border should be dotted, and then left border should be solid. So whatever if you want to do if you want to change, so we can simply change in this way. So we have not any sort of distraction to define a single way of style. So we have multiple options to define the border style, as you can see in this example. So this is the mixed border example, last one. So CSS shortened border property, I have already told. This is the shortened property of defining the border. So CSS rounded border. So we can set the CSS rounded border through the border radius. Border radius like 5 pixel, and we can also set this measurement through the percentage as well. Like I just change it solid, and then apply the border radius like 5 pixel, and you can see its edges, it's rounded. And then if I increase this radius, so you can see the edges is rounded. Now you can see. So this is all about the border rounded CSS box model. So all the HTML elements can be considered as boxes In CSS, the term box model is used when we talking about the design and layout. The sys box model is essentially a box that wraps around every HTML elements. It consists of margin, borders, padding, and the actual content. The image below illustrate the box model. So this is the image of the box model. So you can see in the middle section, it's content, and above the content, you can see it's padding, and this is the border, and above the border, it's a margin area. So we will discuss what is margin, what is we have already discussed about the border, and but we will discuss padding and the margin. So the CSS margin property are used to create a specific space around elements outside of any defined borders. So as you can see, uh, outside outside of the box space should be considered as margin, and inside of the box space should be considered as padding. So with CSS you have full control over the margin. There are properties setting the margin for each side of an element: top, right, bottom, and left. CSS property. So this is the properties of the margin: margin top, margin right, margin bottom. So all the margin properties can have the following values, like auto, the browser calculate the margin; length specifies a margin in pixel, pt, centimeter, etc. And percent specifies a margin in percentage of the width of the containing element. Inherit specified that the margin should be inherit from the parent element. So this is the example of margin. So this is the full form. This is the actual way to use the margin, and this is the shortened way to use this margin. Instead of writing this, we can simply use in this way. So this is the top margin. First one is should be considered as top margin, and the second one should be considered as right margin, and then third one should be considered as bottom margin, and then last one should be considered will be considered as left margin. So we will just uh, see this in the example. So I just simply remove this section. Okay, so we do not, I just simply, okay, just remove it, and just simply type the paragraph p tag and enter the paragraph. I'm just going to type the dummy tags. So from where we can get the dummy tags? Can you please tell me? From .msm type. So we can use simply these two lines. Okay, then save it. Then in our home document. Okay, so just refresh the page. Now you can see this is our section area. So if I apply the margin over here, so how we can use the margin? So we can simply type the margin, margin top 100 pixel, and when I hover it, so you can see the orange area is the margin area, as you can see. And then when I type the margin left 50 px, now you can see if I remove this, so you can see it will back to the normal condition. But when I open it, so it will create a margin from the left hand side, and if I add the margin on the right hand side, like 50 px, So you can see it will create the margin from the right hand side as well. And now simply we can add the margin bottom 100px. Now you can see the footer area is showing through this 100px space. Why? Because I'm typing the margin bottom space. So instead of writing this, we can simply add in a shortened way like this 100px, and 50px is going for the right section because it's a second one, and then third one it's for bottom, and then left is for left one. Last one is for left one. Okay. So have you any confusion uh, in the margin or in the short form? We can uh, also a short so how we can short more. So we can simply just type the margin and then type 100px and then 50px. So this is a more shortened way to use, and when I hover it, so you can simply see the result is same. Either we can use the 4 line, either we can use this line, or either we can use this line. The result will be same. So this is a shortest way, and this is also a shortened way, but this one is a shorted more. So so in the last one heading, the first one is for top and bottom, and the second one is for left and right. So we have an option to use either this 4 line, either this line, or either this line. So if you have any question, so I know this is a bit harder to understand.
Do we still also have an option to do it as a radius, like to do it as a rounded, the color, the border for the margin?
Border, yes, we can also set the border like 1 pixel solid. We can also define its color like blue. We can also set the property radius like 5 pixel 50px, or we can also reduce or increase. It depends on our requirement. So you can see. Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
No problem. So the auto value. So we will discuss the auto value in our in the next slide. So I'm just skipping the auto. We will discuss it later. So just discuss the CSS padding. So the CSS padding property are used to generate space around the element content inside of any defined border. So padding and margin is almost same, but difference is padding is covered under the box, and the margin is covered outside the box. These same parameter should be used for padding and margin, like top, right, and bottom and left, as you can see. In the margin, we have margin top, margin right, margin bottom, margin left. Similarly, we have padding top, padding right, padding bottom, padding left. So here is no difference between the margin and padding except this one. Negative values are not allowed in the padding, but we can use negative values in the margin. So this is a simple difference in the padding and in the margin, and also a main difference I have already told. The main difference is paddle is going to create a space inside the box, and if you want to create a space outside the box, so we will have to use the margin instead of padding. So if you want the space inside the box, so what should I use? So we should simply use padding, like padding top 10 pixel or 30 pixel. It depends on a requirement. Padding left 20 pixel. You can see it will create the space from the left hand side, and padding right, it will create the padding from the right hand side as well. You can see the orange you can see the green green bar, it's showing the padding, and the orange highlighted area is showing the uh, margin. Sorry. So I'm just going to add the padding bottom, like 30 px, so it create the padding from the bottom side as well. So here we have the complete example of the box model. So this is the example of box model. So we have also a shortened way in the padding. So the same way we will use the shorthand as we do in the padding, like padding, and then we will define 30 px, and then uh, right 30, right 20, sorry, and then bottom 30, and then left 20. So we can also define this way as well. So these are all three options are correct. So it depends on our requirement, or it depends on, but it's recommended to use the shortened way if you have an option. So this is the example of box model. So now jump to the next slide is okay. So now we can see the auto value. So you can set the margin property to auto to horizontally center the element within its container. So the element will can take up the specified width, and the remaining space will be split equally between the left and the right margin. For example, if we have this section, and I'm just going to set its width like 300 pixel, and if I want to align this box center, so how we can do? Can anyone please tell me? So can you please tell me how can we align this box in the center? So can you please tell me?
So we have to put center before the after the section
The
right
width.
here.
Okay. So what should I type? Text align center or
Is it text align?
text align center? So text align center, it's just simply
Only
align
the
the
text.
only the text, not the whole box. So what should I do? So we will just simply create add the margin auto, so it will align the whole box in the center. And when I hover this, so you can see it will equally distribute the space in the left hand side and in the right hand side when I use the margin property auto. So whenever we want to align the whole box or the whole element in the center, so we must use the property margin auto uh, along with width. So got it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So please wait, I'm just uh, time is to end soon. Okay, so just simply cover the height and the width, and so and then we will just end the session. So we will just cover the CSS height and the width, and then we will close the session, close to the session. So the height and width properties are used to set the height and width of an element. The height and width property do not include padding borders or margins. It set the height or width of the area inside the padding, border and margin of the element. So we can see this is the height and width. The height and width properties may have the following values. Auto, this is default. The browser calculate the height and width. So length defines the height and width in pixel, centimeter, and etc. Percentage defines the height and width in percentage of the containing block. Initial set the height and width to its default value. Inherit the height and width will be inherited from its parent value. So all series dimensions properties: height, set the height of the element; max height, set the maximum height of the element; max width, set the maximum width of the element; min height, and then min width and max width. So we will just give the short review. So we have already discussed the width property. So we can also increase or decrease. It's up to our requirement. So we can also uh, set the height as well. For example, if I want the height, this section like 400 pixel, I just simply type the 400 pixel. As you can see, it will expand the this box into 400 px. And if I remove this height, so it will land to a default width value. So we have option to use a custom width and custom height. And what is the example of max height and the max width? So so I'm just going to remove this. So I'm going to simply add the border radius 1 pixel, solid, and then define its width, like with 300 pixel, and then align the its center through the property of margin. So if I remove this width, and if I use the min height, so for example, if I use the 200 pixel, so it will expand it through the 200 pixel. So what is the difference of min height and the height? We can also use the height as well instead of min height. Like, I'm just remove it from here. So if I remove it, so you can see the result is same. And if I remove this height and allow this min height, so the result is same. So what is the difference between min height and the normal height? So the difference is, for example, if I add more content over here, for example, uh, okay, I just need to create a more content. Okay, so if I use min height, so first start see the height. So you can see the it will just occupy the 200 pixel height, because why? I just set its height to 200 pixel, and then if we set the min height, so it will expand except if the content is accessing the 200 pixel. So this is the difference of min height and the normal height. Height, if we set the property height on the any element, so it will bound to write the content under that value. So accessing part should be displayed outside the box. So this is the best example to use min height if we don't know the height of the content. So we will have to use min height. And if we pretty much sure that if that we are going to set the height, and our content will be adjust in our height, so we can use height. So you can see the difference. Similarly, we can use the max width, max height as well. Like I just say max height is 500, for example, and I just remove the height from over here. So you can see the maximum height is 500, and but the actual box height is 4 430. You can see section, and the first value is the 320 is the width, 32, sorry, 322 it's a width, and then multiply sign, and then you can see the 430 it's a height value. So for example, I just simply change this value to 300. So you can see uh, uh, this is the 300, and why this is showing, because the content is exceeding the value of the max height. So this is the example of min height, and the max height. So uh, we can discuss the next slide to our next lecture. So far we will just end this session. So if you have any question, so you may ask. And your assignment is you will have to learn the max width and the min width. Max width and min width, because we have already uh, currently discussed max height, min height, and height. So this is your assignment to learn the max width and the min width. And also I will add the quiz in the Google Classroom. So you all are requested to submit the quiz. So I will upload the quiz maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So I will upload, and you all are requested, or you all have to submit this quiz.
Sounds good, brother. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Jazakallah khair.
Barakallah. So if you have any questions, so you may ask. Otherwise, I'm just going to end this session.
Jazakallah khairan, Brother Umar, and everyone to attend it. So I highly appreciate. And inshallah, next Saturday we continue. And you are going to put your assignment in the, you were mentioning me about the Google Cast or where?
Brother
Yes,
Muhammad, I had a question.
Yes, please.
Hello?
Hello. Yes, I'm listening. Yes, brother. You may ask the question.
Where do we find the slides that you're using?
Slide. I will upload the slide.
We will share you in the end of the course, inshallah. You will get everything, inshallah. Or you want to share something, if they're the notes, then he can give you in the Google Cast, the instructor, Omar.
Hello?
Yeah, you call me at 310-729-0107, so I will explain to you. If you have any general question except the course, so contact Brother Dawar 310-729-0107. Ask the instructor only what he's teaching. Course material, planning, everything you can ask me and I can explain to you, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Everyone, assalamu alaikum. Okay, Omar, jazakallah khairan. We will talk, okay? I will call you for some other thing, okay?
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah.
Wa alaikum assalam.